Okay then, so let us get on with this video. So there's not massive amounts really. It's within the past, well, since the last video I uploaded, um there has been a lot more posts in regards to the toys, but I'm not really talking about the toys per se in these films, these videos, should I say. I'm more or less trying to focus primarily on the actual film, character renders of the characters, CGI renders, things of that nature, and any significant information. Now, basically, we are like 2 months away now for this film to actually release physically in cinemas. I believe it's out around about June 9th this year. So we are very, very close. So we could be seeing possibly very soon, possibly another trailer. That has kind of been rumoured and in the pipeline for at least a month or so since the original trailer was released for Rise of the Beasts. So we are going to be getting another trailer, I think. Probably, I know that apparently there's been some TV spots spotted, apparently. And also the trailers apparently as well have been actually shown in cinemas for the fest for as well very recently. So they've kind of been backed onto some recent releases, film releases. So the original trailer, has obviously been making its way around cinema screens as well as so on. So I here in the UK, I haven't really seen much of the trailer. I haven't seen any TV spots yet. I haven't really seen it. I mean, I've been to see a couple of films recently, and the trailer wasn't connected to those films, so it might be significant films or certain films that might be Hasbro. I mean, obviously, you had the Dungeons and Dragons film that's just come out. So that's obviously Dungeons and Dragons is kind of a Hasbro property. So it's kind of making me wonder as whether it's going to be obviously certain films that are coming out will probably have the trailer connected to them, which is highly more likely. Anyway, so I'm going to move swiftly on now. So basically in this video, I'm just going to be showing you mostly very more beautifully more really nice character renders of pretty much all the characters. Again, I don't know what's going on per se with Rhinox and Airazor. I don't know how significant they are going to be in this film, which is kind of making me a bit worried about those two characters because I love Rhinox and I love Airazor as well. It's making me wonder because there is apparently a bit of rumours around that there is going to be some casualties on both the Autobot side and the Maximal side, as well as the Decepticon or the evil side, or the basically Scourge and Battletrap and everybody. So there is going to be all around. There is going to be some casualties. Obviously, we don't know who the characters are going to be who do die. Obviously, I'm not going to go into any spoiler. I'm deliberately not looking into test screening reviews because there has been some test screenings of the film, quite a few actually, and so there will be some spoiler stuff out there. Whether I haven't really noticed anything spoilerish, which I'm kind of glad about. This film's actually been doing very well in regards to filtering and be very careful with what information is being put out there, and hopefully probably deleting anything that is possibly true, spoilerish. But yeah, so I'm gonna move on now because like I said, we do have brand new character renders. These are actually from Japan, so they're in English, translated into English names, but in Japanese as well. So these are starting to promote the film now in Japan. And we now have all these. So we have one for RC, one for Battletrap, one for Scourge, one for Mirage. Obviously, all the characters pretty much in the film. We've also got our first look, I think, of one of the Predacon, like one of the um, weird henchman bots that works with Scourge. Um, and we actually see he was actually poised as a Decepticon, but it looks like the badge that is used on this render poster that I'm going to show you in a moment is basically seems that basically Transit is his name, and the logo or insignia is a Terracon one. So I don't know whether they've gone away with the fact of him being a Decepticon and actually made him actually one of the Terracons. Um, but apparently this guy it transforms into a bus. So he is like a massive big transformer, and apparently he kind of squares up against Optimus Prime relatively early into the film. So I don't think he's going to be that of a significant character. I don't even think he even has a voice actor. I haven't even heard an actor connected to this character. So I generally think this character is just designed primarily to be cannon fodder for the Autobots, basically. He's probably going to be one of the first enemies that they fight. And then obviously you got the main Mama Jammers, which are obviously Scourge, Battletrap, and Nightbird. Whatever, is it Nightwing, Nightbird? Um, and yeah, and the Predacon clones, and there's meant to be like Scorponok clones as well. There's meant to be kind of other bots in the final battle. From what we can see in the trailer, the first trailer we see, we do all see that. But anyway, so I've yammered on far too long here. So without further ado, let's have a look at these really interesting character designs, these posters, and we also have the voice actor has finally been confirmed for Cheetor as well. So I'm going to be talking about that in this video, which is something it's been in the back of my mind. Like all the other characters have had their voices, the voice actors connected to them all announced months ago. I do not understand why it has taken so long to announce this actor uh, or announce the voice for Cheetor. I don't know whether they've been having a bit of a bad time trying to get a actor to play him, or the auditioning process has been a little bit all over the place for maybe whatever reason it may be. But anyway, so I'm going to show that as well in a moment. So let's do this thing. Okay, so the first character render is of Optimus Prime. As you can see, it is in Japanese as well as English. Very, very beautiful CGI render of Optimus, and also in truck mode. Autobot insignia behind him. These are probably the best ones we've had so far in regards to showing what the characters look like, how much they've come on since the first trailer dropped. They've obviously been working on these character designs. Obviously, they've been working on the visual effects. They'll be probably still working on it right up until the film actually does hit theatres in cinemas. So, as you can see here, he does look absolutely fantastic, as I hope you will agree there. The more I look at this version of Optimus Prime, the more I do actually really like his design. As you can see there, he does have his battle mask. So, but it looks like in order to speak, he does actually have a mouth. But when it comes to battle, he still has his battle mask. So he does look a hell of a lot more G1 inspired when he does have that battle mask on. Which obviously he has had a battle mask in all the films. Obviously, I think in all the films he has basically had a mouth. So I don't know why there's some people arguing the toss about him having a mouth. It doesn't really make any sense to me, because I understand in other media, like G1 cartoon and so on and so forth, his mouth, he didn't have a mouth. It was mostly just a faceplate. constant faceplate, but obviously as time's gone on, he has kind of been donned with an actual mouth, and then he just basically has a battle mask that goes over his mouth when he fights. So obviously he has that, and he looks absolutely fantastic. All right then, so this is the first look of the what originally was apparently poised or posted about as a Decepticon. But as you can see, that is not Decepticon insignia, that is a Terracon insignia. So this is Transit that I mentioned about, who apparently transforms into a bus. Now, I don't really see much bus parts on this guy, as you can see by the head sculpt on him. He does look very bug-like, very Decepticon-like, Michael Bay-esque design aspects to his face. This possibly could be a battle mask as well, or this is just generally how his head looks. I don't know. A lot of the time with Decepticons and the evil factions in the live-action films, the they seem to give them more like Predator-esque, like in Revenge of the Fallen, sorry. When you get the dreads, when you get like where Ironhide goes up against those cloned ones, there's multiple of them that transform into SUVs, or 4x4s here in the UK, basically, the big massive vehicles, and they're basically just very generic looking, but yet they look like predators. They look like they're designed to have like dreadlocks for hair, and the wires are kind of done as like dreadlocks, so they call them the dreads and things. So basically, for some reason, there's still an essence of Michael Bay in the designs. Michael Bay obviously isn't directing this film, but he is an executive producer on this. He's only a producer, but I think he has had some sort of influence in some of the character designs, or they are just trying to keep it in the timeline narrative, maybe. Just try not to go too far away from the Michael Bay's design aspects, but yet at the same time trying to move forward. But yeah, I'm getting a bit sick of seeing like bug-like, unless it's an Insecticon, then yes, I can understand if it's an Insecticon, or if it's a transformer that transforms into a bug or a spider. Anything of that nature, I could understand them having a certain type of design for their face, having multiple eyes, things of that nature. But for some reason, I don't see the point of the regular Transformers. I understand they're meant to be evil. I don't have a problem with them having twisted features to make them menacing or whatever, but I'm just getting a little bit sick of the same old Michael Bay sort of inspired art concept when it comes to the bad side of the. I mean, end of the day, they are Cybertronian warriors. The only difference is they're a different faction to the Autobots, and the only ones that seem to have an actual proper face and mouth are the main bad guys, like Battletrap, Scourge, Nightbird or Nightwing, whatever her name is, and Megatron in the films and Starscream. The titled characters seem to be the ones that seem to mostly emote and actually do have an actual face and do actually look like an actual Cybertronian. But yet all their peasants, all their cannon fodder ones. I mean, I did this, like I said in the previous voice segment, basically this guy is supposed to go up against Optimus Prime in a fight, and it's meant to be kind of relatively early into the film, apparently. I don't know whereabouts, but it's meant to be like one of the first fights before the Terracons, or it's during when the Terracons actually do land on Earth. I don't know. But as you can see, he is actually a Terracon, so he's not a Decepticon. So yeah. So there's our first look at Transit. It does look pretty cool regardless, but all I wanted to just say, I don't have a massive problem with Michael Bay's designs per se. It's just I'm getting a bit sick of seeing the inspiration still there. I want them to move forward. I want them to be a bit more original with how they design characters. That's basically where I'm going at with this. So this one is Wheeljack, and as you can see, Wheeljack in this. Now, The strange thing is there's actually two I'm going to show you. There's actually two of these. Exactly done. I don't know whether the other one is a fan-made edit, whether it's true or not, I don't know. This one was actually released, and it actually gives us a good look at Wheeljack both in robot mode and also in alt mode. This is the first time to actually see a very good actual render of him. Now, as I said in a previous video that I've done covering Rise of the Beasts, Wheeljack's name was taken off the toy lists. He basically, all the companies that had a license to produce anything to do with Transformers Rise of the Beasts, Wheeljack's name was removed from those lists. However, that all of a sudden this image dropped of Wheeljack. Now this is him still with his weird goggle design. But there's this one as well. As you can see with this one, folks, he looks exactly the same robot mode, but this has actually given him his more G1 inspired, like, face light up barb things, which is what is more, I don't know how you really pronounce those, but basically, you know, he looks much more like Wheeljack, as I remember, as many of us remember. So I don't know whether this one is a more of a Digi fan edit, or if this image was actually posted online in error, or it was done on purpose to say this was Wheeljack before, this is him now. But the fact that they actually took Wheeljack's name off the toy lists everywhere, and also it was getting very difficult to actually see any sort of render, because when we saw the very first trailer very first trailer, we see all the Autobots together. We only see Wheeljack from the back. So this is literally the first time we actually see Wheeljack in a lot more detail, and obviously Wheeljack hasn't actually been a part of the standees for cinemas. So basically, all the characters, pretty much all the Autobots have been, and the Maximals have actually been present in those standees, but Wheeljack hasn't. So this is literally the first inclination of having a nice clear render of Wheeljack's mode. There's obviously two versions being circulated, as I'm showing you now, of before and now. So what this means, I don't know. Has he had a slight redesign? Has his head been designed slightly differently? It would suggest that I think he has. I think he has had a slight redesign. Hence why they've taken his name off the toy lists, so that basically they can kind of like fix the problem. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a slight head design difference. So really, I don't think it's going to cause much of a problem for production of the toy. But anyway, so yeah, so there we are, Wheeljacks. Let's move on to the next one. As you see here, we now have Stratosphere. We have our first look at Stratosphere. So I can't remember what military aircraft he is supposed to be. I know he's meant to just be a cargo plane. They actually use him in the movie in order to go to where they meet the Maximals. So the Autobots basically go inside Stratosphere, and he basically just gets them from A to B, basically. But this is the first look, and obviously John Damasio is the voice for him. I'm a big fan of John Damasio. So it's a very interesting design. I actually quite like the design. Some people probably might not like the idea of, again, going with the Michael Bay-esque, very human-looking faces with beards and things. Some people probably might actually think that's fine. End of the day, each to their own. Some people might actually like the more humanoid-looking faces. But yeah, I don't really see the point of him having a mustache or facial hair. I don't really see the point of that being on a Cybertronian. I know it's not the first time, because obviously back in G1, the original Transformers, the movie, for instance, you had the Sweeps, and then you had Scourge, who actually did have like a Lemmy inspired mustache beard thing. very kind of more inspired of that kind of like, you know, so it has existed even back in the G1 days, but I just don't see the point of facial hair on a Transformer. It doesn't really make any sense. They are mostly just made out of metal. Uh, you know, they are Cybertronian metal beings, robots basically. But at the end of the day, it just probably gives him a little bit more character. So he's probably going to be kind of a wacky old guy, an old adventurer. Probably, you know, someone a bit like Jetfire. But yeah, so we'll soon find out. Okay then, so here is now Nightbird. I was calling her Nightwing, and so I apologise for messing her name up there. But yeah, so Nightbird. So here is actually a look at Nightbird. She doesn't look too much different from the toy reveal for her. Uh, there's a lot going on with this design. I kind of like it, but I don't really know. Um, I've not. I mean, yeah, it's an interesting choice, a very interesting choice. She obviously, you know, fits the part of a Terracon. You know, she's a, you know, her appearance is very evil looking. You know, she looks a little bit more Decepticon-y than an actual Terracon, because you know what I mean. She has the, you know, she just looks more Decepticon than a Terracon. I mean, Terracons you would probably come to expect to be a hell of a lot more menacing looking. You know, like monstrously looking, like Scourge looks. Scourge pretty much looks like the pinnacle of what you would call a Terracon. Anyway, but anyway, so yeah, Nightbird. She looks pretty cool. This is actually the first time seeing her in robot mode in more detail. We don't really see much of her in the first trailer. So yeah, so there we are with Nightbird. And here we are with Mirage. So obviously we've seen a hell of a lot of Mirage. Um, as you can see, he does look a little bit different in this render. The only difference mostly is he does actually have a battle mask. He actually seems to have like a faceplate mask like Prime. So obviously, you know, it kind of goes over his mouth. So this is the first time actually seeing him in battle mode. So yeah, I do like Mirage's design. I'm not going to say too much more on Mirage. We know Mirage has been one of obviously he's the title robot. He's the one that looks after the humans, or the main male human. Anyways, you know, they kind of have an interaction, and they sort of become more close friends throughout the film, basically. So yeah, Mirage. It looks pretty darn cool. I do like his design. Here we are then with a render of Airazor. Now again, no show of her in robot mode. We haven't seen Airazor in robot mode at all, which is what I said that earlier on in the video, is where I'm getting a little bit concerned. I have a feeling that for some reason both Rhinox and Airazor we have kind of seen a little bit of Rhinox in robot mode in the trailer, but he was like right off in the background, so you couldn't really see much detail on him. Just kind of what his robot mode head looked like a little bit. So with Airazor, we only see her ever really in this eagle mode, in her bird mode. So um, yeah, I mean, she looks really cool. I do love her design in this mode, but you know, with the film only 2 months away, unless they are deliberately kind of keeping some stuff close knit to kind of give us a little bit of a surprise, that's cool and all. But you know, I would like to see how Rhinox looks, how he transforms. You know, kind of like we've had these little GIF things which I showed in the last video of Optimus Primal and Optimus Prime Mirage transforming, and kind of them little GIF things. So you know, they were pretty cool. But yeah, for some reason, like I say, Wheeljack, this is the first time seeing him proper in full render. But we haven't actually seen a full render of Rhinox and Airazor's robot modes, much more high definition quality. So whether they are still working on their robot designs, whether they're two characters that they are still working on in visual effects, I don't know. But well, yeah. I mean, I just really want to see what Rhinox looks like. He's literally one of my favorite characters in Beast Wars. So yeah, but yeah. So here is it, looking good. And as you can see, then here is Rhinox. So as I said in the previous part with Air you know, this is the only mode we've ever really seen him in. Yes, there is a toy. Um, they obviously have released the toy for Ranox, so we've only kind of got the toy and the box art to really go on, but we haven't. What I'm trying to say is we just haven't seen a very nice high definition CGI render of Rhinox in robot mode. Same with Air We can't really go on the box art. We can't really go on box art, and we can't really go on the actual toy, how the toy looks for these characters. You can't really go on them because there is some changes on those figures. They don't won't look like the toys will not look exactly like in the film, so you can't go completely on the toys and box art because they might be so yeah, I mean, he looks cool. I love the Rhinox mode. It's nice to see a nice render of the actual Rhinox mode more clearly. But yeah, I'm still waiting for that robot mode. Whether we get that before the film releases is another matter entirely, but we can only wait and hope. Okay, then, so we now have Cheetor. Again, just in his Cheetor mode. We still, again, he's another character we have seen Cheetor running. We have seen Cheetor in Cheetor mode quite close up in the first trailer. We have also seen him transform in the trailer, but yet again, the CGI was still in quite early development, so it wasn't as highly polished at that point. So we still haven't had a high definition look of what Cheetor would look like actually in robot mode. I mean, especially not in this high quality of this image you see here. Yet again, there is a toy released for him, but again, I'm just going to just repeat what I said before, that you can't always go on the box art. I mean there is some slight changes when it comes to packaging on toys and how the toy actually looks as well. Because there is a couple of versions of Cheetor. There's one that's basically just a retool of a pre-existing figure. That came out. That was actually a Kingdom Cheetor figure that's just kind of been retooled, and then we've also got a different one that looks totally different, which looks possibly a bit more what it would look like in the film. So there's actually two versions of the toy that's actually been brought out so far. So yeah, so you can't really go on the toys because it is a little bit misleading. But yeah, still waiting on what it looks like in high definition. So moving swiftly on then to the next image. This is obviously Primal. I'm not going to bore you too much with Primal because I've spoken quite a bit about Primal in these videos, but doesn't he look awesome? This image is really cool. We have him in both robot mode and also in gorilla mode. I'm actually he's actually growing on me a little bit now. You can definitely see there isn't any reds or blues on him, but you do see there is some significant highlighting to the point where he does have more like chrome parts. So in order to kind of balance off the blacks, very dark colours, he seems to have some like gunmetal grey accents, which is obviously the robot Cybertronian parts underneath his organic form. So that is actually nice to see that there is some sort of definition there, which is something I was wanting. I would have liked a little bit of white in there, reds or blues, but again, he does actually look a hell of a lot better compared to what we see in the first trailer. That is actually a much nicer design, and you can definitely see that they have been working on him quite closely and quite intently. Moving on, we have now Bumblebee. So yeah, Bumblebee. What can I say about Bumblebee? Very, he hasn't really changed all that much. The other different, there's just slight design differences so they can produce a toy out of him again. But yeah, so Bumblebee looks pretty cool. Yeah, so we'll leave it at that. Now we have Terracon Freezer. So this is another Terracon. This is going to be like he's going to be like a little mini con, I believe. He's like basically about the size of like Frenzy and Frenzy and Ravage, about that size that we see in the uh, Raz, Dark Side of the Moon and so on. So yeah, so this is first time looking at Freezer in robot mode. So interesting, again, very bug-like, very evil looking, but yeah, interesting design. It's very weird. He's like got 4 arms and then 2 legs, and it is very weird looking little thing. Then we have the awesome, which this I love this design. Here's one of my favourites next to Scourge, Battletrap. He just looks absolutely awesome, menacing. He generally does embody what a Terracon would look like. He's got spikes. He's got a massive wrecking ball kind of weapon. He has missiles, as we see in the trailer. He just looks the business. I really do love his design. He does look cool. I'm very much looking forward to seeing him in action. Now we have Scourge himself. Look at that awesome guy. He just looks menacing as hell. I really can't wait to see this guy in action as well. He just looks so goddamn awesome with his like scythe blade weapon, and he has the stab weapon that comes out of his arm as well. He just looks awesome. In both alt mode and robot mode, such a cool design. Absolutely fantastic. And then moving on, we have RC. I love looking. RC is just awesome. Yeah, she's got pink, but yet they've got a head sculpt right. I just love how she looks. The design for RC is absolutely on point. Really cool. And there we go. That's 2 things I want to talk about before I finish off the video. Is there's this? I don't know if this is legit. It does look quite legit, but we have a nice panoramic sort of designed view poster of all the characters together, which was obviously of a standee, which I've previously showed in a previous video. But obviously you see them in New York or in America, and then you see them where they meet the Maximals in the backdrop there. So that's actually a very nice looking poster. Kind of gives you a nice feel of it's like 2 worlds, like totally different cultures and worlds, kind of meshed together, and that is exactly what this film is. Very cool. I do like that. The last thing on bit of news is the voice actor of Cheetor. So the voice actor for Cheetor, his name is Tongei Teresa, I believe. I apologise if I've got that wrong. But that is the name of the voice actor who is going to be voicing Cheetor in Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Now, I really don't understand why it's taken so long to reveal this casting for him. There's obviously been a reason. There've obviously been maybe it's been a very I mean, it did. It's during the production of this film, it has actually taken quite a long time to reveal who is voicing who. Even like Mirage, who was voicing Mirage, who was voicing any of the Maximal characters, the Predacon characters. It did. The process seemed to take a hell of a lot longer compared to previous films under Michael Bay or Travis Knight, anyone. Um, so yeah, so Tongei Teresa is the voice of Cheetor. Now, obviously, I would have loved to have seen Ian James Corlett come back, but unfortunately, I don't think it's ever going to happen, sadly. Obviously, it's not going to happen now. But yeah, I've never really heard this guy. I don't recognise him, but he is from originally from Zimbabwe, and he has actually worked on some stuff for NBC, some drama and stuff. So he is an on-screen actor, but obviously he must be partial to some sort of voice acting work. Yeah, so yeah, there we go. So it's nice to finally see that all the characters that have some sort of significance in the film are now connected to an actor to voice them, portray their characters. So yeah, so there is the video, folks. Thank you ever so much for watching. Until next time, stay awesome, and I'll be back. If there's any more significant information from now until the point of the film releasing, which I'm sure there'll probably be another trailer at some point, as I said before, if that is true, then I will be sure to make another part, or another one of these Rise of the Beast videos, or maybe more than one. It depends just how much information we get shoved in our faces in the meantime. But anyway, so see you soon, people. Bye bye.